Happy Mother's Day getaway. So, yeah, we're gonna talk about decision fatigue. If you don't know what that is, you're gonna learn today. You're gonna learn. All right, you're gonna learn today what uh, decision fatigue is and how it can play a role in your life, your athlete's life, especially with exams coming up this week. So, I want to give you some pointers on this. Basically, it's a way to minimize stress. That's what you're gonna learn today. And this came up because one of the kids in our complete athlete Zoom call, I actually posted that in the group, brought this up. And I love when they do that because that means the wheels are turning, they're thinking, they're engaged. But this particular athlete wanted to know how he can combat decision fatigue. He wanted to dive deeper into what it is, number one, and how he can combat it during exam week because it's stressful enough. So we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna define it, and give you ways to combat decision fatigue. All right. So let's go ahead and dive right in. As usual, I have the intro for you. So what's up, everyone? Coach Ronnie here. Today, diving into the we're diving into something that affects every athlete, every parent, and every high performer out there, and that's decision fatigue. Have you ever felt exhausted by the end of the day? Not from training, but from constantly having to make choices. What to eat, what drill to do, what to wear, what time to sleep, when to study, what to say, how to respond. That mental exhaustion has a name called decision fatigue, and it kills productivity, it kills confidence and performance. So, in this live, I want to cover what decision fatigue is and how it shows up in your daily life. Why it's especially dangerous for athletes and parents of athletes. 4 ways to reduce mental clutter and make better choices, and 2 simple activities to help you stay focused and sharp. Now, make sure you stay until the end of this live because I have a big announcement coming up at the very end. So stick around for that. All right. So now we have so many new people into this group coming in weekly. I'm so grateful for that. So much gratitude for that. I want to thank all our new members. And just in case you don't know me, who I am, let's dive into that. My name is Coach Ronnie. I was a strength and conditioning coach in professional baseball for 12 years, where I help athletes get stronger, faster, quicker, more explosive, and minimize injuries. Now, I do the same thing for you in this group, but I also add a mental twist. I also want to help you or your athletes develop a rock solid mindset. All right. So that's the purpose of this group, generally speaking. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty of exactly what decision fatigue is. All right. So, decision fatigue is the mental drain that happens when your brain has to make too many decisions in a short period of time. Just like your muscles fatigue during a workout, right? Your brain wears down from constantly having to make decisions, leading to poor choices, procrastination, and mental burnout. All right. All the things we want to avoid as parents and students and student athletes. Okay. So let's dive into this thing. All right. What are 4 keys to avoiding decision fatigue? Number one thing you want to do, you need to have routines, you need to have systems in place. All right. Going back to the mindset group, the first week we had, you know, building routines and systems. That's number one on this list. So they'll let you know how important it is to have these routines in place. The first week of our 8 week program, that's the first thing our athletes learn. They learn how to develop routines, that they learn how to develop systems and habits as well. Habits, routines, and systems. That's what they're going to learn. All right. And what the routines do, they eliminate the need to think about small tasks. A morning routine is what you want, a pre practice routine, and a game day checklist. Those are just a couple examples. There's numerous examples, but those are just just a couple pertaining to athletes and students, and anybody else when it comes to a morning routine, correct? So, it automates the day for you. And we talk about this, like I said, on the Zoom call last night. You have exams coming up on starting today, Monday. Wouldn't it make sense to have your clothes laid out, your books prepared, a glass of water so you can hydrate, take a nice cold shower to wake you up, have some positive thoughts or affirmations going in your head. Next thing you know, you're getting on the car, you're getting on the bus, and everything is smooth because you didn't have to waste any energy stressing out or making these unnecessary decisions that are easily can be automated, right? That's the mindset you want to be in. Whether you're going to take your exams, whether you're going to compete at practice or your game, you want to have things that aren't, I'm not going to say aren't important, but are of lesser value, right, than your actual performing. You want to have these things automated. All right, so you can focus on the performance or the exam. There's a saying that says where focus goes, energy flows. So if I'm focusing on what am I wearing today? Where's my book bag? I'm already distracted, right? My focus is going away from the practice. My focus is going away from the competition, right? So we need to have routines to automate those things that can easily be automated, all right? The more automated your day is, the more energy you save for high task decisions, right? Common sense, you might think, right? I think it's common sense, but we normalize, we can normalize making these small, being forcing ourselves to make these small decisions. I'll say that, right? So, number two, you can limit choices for low. It limits choices for low stakes decisions, right? You don't need 20 breakfast options, right? You don't or five different workouts. Simply fewer options equals less mental drain and more clarity, right? Number three, train your mind like a muscle. Just like you strength train, your brain needs consistent reps, visualization, breath work, and journaling all build mental stamina and clarity, which protects you from overwhelm. So it goes back. With that being said, it kind of goes back to the old Tyson quote. I talk about it a lot. Um, everybody has a plan till they get punched in the face, right? Till they get punched in the face. So with that being said, when you have these practices that we're talking about regarding to the brain, when you have the visualization in place, the breath work, the journaling, when you have all these things in place, then when you the potential to be overwhelmed takes place, or the so-called punch in the face comes at you, you're prepared, right? You're prepared mentally, all right? Because you put your work in, you can handle additional stressors. You can handle them efficiently because your mind has a surplus of energy that can handle that, as opposed to you're all over the place all day, and then this challenge comes up, this punch in the face comes up, you're already worn out. Now you have to deal with this, right? So train your mind like a muscle to handle these obstacles when they come into play, right? Prioritize rest and recovery. Again, after a workout, we know that we need to take a day off, right? We need to do the same thing from a mental perspective. Mental fatigue often mirrors physical burnout. Excuse me. Make time for unplugged rest, naps, and sleep hygiene. That's when the brain resets and repairs. That's it. We talked about treating the mind like a muscle, the brain like a muscle. This is piggybacking off of that, right? Prioritize the rest, prioritize the recovery, and that's where you make your gains, right? Just like you do with your muscle, that's where you make your gains. You're gonna come back fresh and ready to crush that second day, all right? So let's see. All right, is that over here? Got a little distraction over there. Sorry about that. So now we covered our 4 points, right? So far, if you're finding value in this Facebook Live here, give me a one in the comments. If decision fatigue is new for you, you can drop a one down there as well. All right. Let's go, let's go, let's go. So now we're going to dive into the things you can do right now, things you can do right now to combat, maybe even hopefully eliminate decision fatigue. All right. So let's dive right in. Number one, I mentioned number one. That was your routines. That's the first actionable activity you can do. You can set up routine, establish your routines. All right. Our second actionable activities you can implement today is pre-decide tomorrow night before bed. Write down what you're wearing, what time you're waking up. All right. So make these decisions ahead of time. Plan things out. That's what we're talking about right now. Now, this is something you can do right now. Um, and feel the effects tomorrow morning. Because there's an aspect of this that I haven't mentioned yet, and that's micro wins. All right. Micro wins add up to bigger wins. And when you have the confidence from these micro wins, when it's time for that big win to execute to achieve that big win, you've already done it. Jordan said it a few times. I posted this video on my Instagram account. The guy asked him, "So, were you ever nervous at any time, during your career?" Jordan just stepped back and goes, "Nah, not really, because during practice was the game to me. I practiced like it was a game." That's what he said. So when game time come around, I've already done it. I've already been there. There was no need to be nervous. There was no need to be anxious, right? And there's another aspect of that as well. Going back to the brain, when I mentioned this before, when we think ahead, that's the anxiety. When you're thinking about things that you can't control and that are flat out lies, that's where anxiety comes into play. It's your mind playing games on you, right? Live in the now, focus on the now, treat practice like the game, and things will work out for you. All right. So, and part of that, the reason I said that is you pre-decide tomorrow night before bed, write down what you're wearing, what time you're waking up, right? Do these things. And when you execute these things, especially over time, those where the wins come in, right? You're constantly building your confidence up with these small wins. Then you have that high level of confidence to execute at practice like game time, and then come competition time, you dominate. And same with these exams, all right? Your top three priorities, all right? Write down your top three priorities. This eliminates 5 to 10 decisions before the day even starts, right? So, again, take your top three priorities. This eliminates 5 to 10 decisions before the day even starts. And you can do this by using the 3-2-1 method. I've talked about that before, right? You take 3 deep breaths, 2 minute, 2 minute pause, one clear decision. This technique helps athletes slow down, rest, and respond with clarity, not chaos. Such a huge point right there. You see it all the time in sports. Before I'm thinking, what popped in my head is a serve in tennis. You see that the golf, the tennis athlete take that deep breath, assess the situation, and go serve the ball. You see that all the time in baseball. You see a guy, softball, you see an athlete step outside the box, take that deep breath. They might be looking their bat up and down. You're slowing down, you're resetting, and putting your brain and your mind in the best position to execute at a high level. All right. So that's what we do. We take our three priorities, all right, and execute those. And we do that by using the 3-2-1 method. You just take those deep breaths, you pause, and you make that one clear decision. All right. So those are what the things you can do to combat decision fatigue. All right. Gave you two specific. I gave you four. Start off with 4 pointers. Let's summarize those. All right. Let's talk about give you 4 ways to reduce clutter and make better choices and 2 simple activities. All right. So we want to build routines and systems. We want to limit our time for limit choices for low stakes decisions. Train your mind like a muscle and prioritize rest and recovery. All right. Those are the things you want to do. All right. Those are the things you want to do. Actionable activities. You pre-decide tomorrow night before bed. Write down what you're wearing and what time you're going to wake up. Do those things. All right. And then priorities, right? Prioritize. Use the 3-2-1 method to make one clear decision. So you're going to use the 3-2-1 method, the deep breaths, the pause, then make the clear decision. Again, this slows things down for you, enables you to reset, and enables you to make competent decisions, enables you to perform high at your highest come competition time, and enables you to perform at your highest level come exam time, which is this week for, if not you, for your sons and daughters out there. All right. So decision fatigue is real, folks. We've all dealt with it. Maybe parents watching this that are my age, maybe we didn't call it decision fatigue. We might have just called it stress, being overwhelmed, whatever. But It's there, it's real, and there's ways to combat it. You have those techniques right here. So that is it. But hold on to your britches, the special announcement. So, what's going to happen is I'm teaming up with one of the parents in the group. And, travel sports is so tough on you all. We're coming up on a show on Friday, a Facebook Live on Fridays. We're going to finalize the first date and time here in the group. But the idea of this is to give parents pointers on how to handle travel sports and also get things off your chest, because you parents, you might be able to help each other. It might be something you're doing or your athletes dealing with that you can't figure out. Maybe another parent can handle that. Maybe some of the professionals in the group can handle that, right? But the bottom line is we're creating a platform, a space where parents can come, learn about travel sports, the pain points of travel sports, and how to overcome these pain points, and just get things off your chest. So it's going to be on Fridays, definitely. Once we lock down the date and the time, you guys will be the first to know. All right. So had to get that out. I didn't want to forget it. Notorious for that. So now let's close it out. Decision fatigue is real, but it doesn't have to run your life or your athlete's development. It doesn't have to run your life or your athlete's development. If you want to master your mindset, make better decisions, and build a game ready routine that runs on autopilot, let's talk about that. Shoot me a message, DM me, and we can get you going with that. All right. So, speaking of DMs, DM me today to learn more about minimizing decision fatigue and how my IAE Mastery Mindset Program system can transform your game on and off the field. All right. That's all I have. This is Coach Ronnie checking out. I hope you guys have an amazing Monday, and I will be back in the ATL tomorrow. I'll see some of you in person, some of you athletes, some of you parents in person at the facility. Time to get back after it. And again, have a great week. I'm out. Peace.